For all the Laxtons' kindness and generosity towards him, and their genuine concern to make him feel at home, Jan had known ever since he had first arrived in Queen Square that it was Cedo who should have been there, not him. He understood all too well the longing Mrs. Laxton had to see her niece again, and when he heard the news of Cedo's forthcoming marriage, his rage against Kaliowski surfaced once again. The one comfort Jan took was the idea of how he would revenge himself on the man he held responsible for the murders of Topolan and Tetu. Magic would be his weapon of choice, though how he was to achieve the powers he needed he did not know. It was getting dark as he neared Seven Dials, where he knew the gypsies camped in winter, and fog had begun to descend. The camp, a small city of tents, was not a place to go walking in unless you had business there. Groups of young men eyed up his fine clothes and wondered which gypsy girl had bewitched him enough for such a gentleman to come calling. Taylor appeared out of the fog. "Orlando knew you would come," he said. "I'll take you to my grandfather, Tobias Cooper. He's waiting for you." A very old man sat at the entrance of his tent, smoking his clay pipe. Jan sat down beside him and stared out at the thickening fog that hung down over the camp like the muslin petticoat of some monstrous giantess. "What is it you want to know?" said the old man, looking at Jan as if he could see right into his heart. "I want to know how to move objects without touching them." Tobias laughed. "What makes you think I would know such things?" Jan shrugged his shoulders. A feeling. I was brought up by a dwarf called Tetu, who was of the Romany blood. He worked a wooden Pierrot in a theatre in Paris. He never once touched it. Still, he could make it dance. Then he knew the ways of the ancient magic. What makes you think you have any right to such knowledge? Well, my mother could do the same, and my grandmother. I never knew them. My mother died when I was a few weeks old. I worked in the theatre with Tetu and the wooden doll. I made it talk, I read minds, and sometimes I even foresaw the future. And all that is left to me now is that I can still throw my voice, but it's a cheap circus trick, nothing more. Show me. Out of the fog came the noise of a man wheezing, gasping for breath, asking for a pipe of tobacco. Tobias smiled and said, "Very good indeed. Choose an object." Jan picked the first thing that caught his eye, the old man's hat lying inside the tent. Without touching it, Tobias appeared to lift it off the ground where it hovered, as if listening to what was being said, before vanishing. In its place, suspended in mid-air, was a red rose. "Yes!" said Jan excitedly. "That is what I want to be able to do! That kind of magic!" "You need, then, to be able to see into the spaces in between things," said the old man. "Can you do that?" Jan squinted. "I see nothing. There's nothing to see." "Then you're blind." "I'm not." "Well then, don't come knocking on my door," said Tobias with a shrug. "Go on believing in the flat lands of your mind. If you see the world that way, that is all you will ever see." "I don't understand what you're talking about," said Jan furiously. "If you will let her, Orlando will read your palm. That might help me to know what it is you're fighting," said the old man. He called for her, and she came out of the tent with Talo. She smiled at Jan, taking his almond-shaped hand in hers, looking carefully at his palm, moving it towards the light. After a while she straightened up and said, "I'm sorry. The gift has left me for tonight." "Are you afraid of what your hand might reveal, boy?" Tobias asked. Jan felt annoyed, as if somehow he'd been cheated. He wasn't going to be so easily put off having his palm read. "I am not afraid," he said. Orlando stared deep into his eyes. "You are a true gypsy, and you could be a great shaman. You have a rare gift." She stopped, letting go of his hand. "Go on," said the old man. "Tell him." Orlando took a deep breath, as if going underwater. There were 3 things she told Jan that foggy afternoon, and it was the third one that shocked Jan to the core, as she had known it would. "You have survived 1 bullet, but another is waiting for you in the city over the water." Jan got up without saying a word and started to walk away. Tobias called after him, "I will be here when you come back." By then Jan was running, feeling as if he was suffocating. What a fool he'd been. Did he truly believe in all that hocus pocus? This much he knew. He was done with trying to find out Tetu's secret. Magic belonged to a world he wanted nothing more to do with. If he was ever to take revenge on Kaliowski, he would use a pistol, as any rational man would. This was the moment when Jan decided to turn his back on the notions of sorcery. He would concentrate on the opportunities given to him, and live like a gentleman. No one would ever take him for a gypsy again. No one would ever know where he had come from.